All right. And Andrew, I'm going to have you introduce yourself to the people.
My name is Andrew Hutchinson. I'm a 6'5" forward out of PG County, Maryland, and I play with team Next Up out of the Bronx, New York, Harlem, New York, Harlem, New York.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for that introduction. So now, I mean, all my audience can get to know you.
Oh, I just wanted to put this out there. I'm 6'6".
6'6". All right. Look, I'm not going to fight you on the height. So if you want to go up to 6'10", look, I'll probably believe you because I've only been able to see you in video. So first, let's kick this interview off by giving you sort of like, I guess, a little bit of an open floor to kind of give us a little bit of background about your early life coming up.
So when I was younger, I was always like an outside kid, so I always loved playing sports. But I would say like at first, to be honest with you, I didn't really like basketball. But then as I grew into it, like after soccer, I started doing that. But I just didn't like soccer no more. It got boring to me. So like my early middle school years is when I decided to try basketball. And I think I started like working hard and getting better at it. And once I started seeing results, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. So then from then on, I just started working hard. And my seventh grade year is when I played on the basketball team, my first basketball team.
Also, I mean, I first off, I would have never thought that you would be the first that you would tell you that. Well, I didn't really like basketball at first. I was actually a soccer guy that I transitioned. But I
Hmm.
mean, I guess based on kind of how those sports are played to a relativity, that kind of can be a smooth transition in sort of ways, just based on how team oriented those sports can really be, right?
Yeah.
Building off of that, then, was there any particular person that sort of introduced you to the game of basketball early on before you ultimately in your middle school years decided to try out?
Yes, it was my dad. He originally wanted me to play when I was younger, but he was like, fine, I'll just help you get better at soccer. He coached me a little in that too. And then when I started to play basketball, he was like, I'm gonna teach you like some of the stuff I learned when I was your age and like how to get better. And I just started picking that up and I started training with him from then on. And from then on, I just started growing. I started getting better and he just taught me everything he knew. So I would say it was my dad who ultimately helped me make that transition into basketball.
That's awesome. And as a person who has a father that played sports himself, I can't say I necessarily got into sports as far as playing it, but trust me, I definitely think I can know how you feel. And I could already kind of envision it how it's kind of like, all right, son, I know we're doing soccer right now, and I will support you through it, but if basketball ever comes around, just know I'm ready. We're ready to go full board because I got a lot of stuff I got to show you.
Yep. And that's how it was too. He was always like, you could play soccer, but I think you're going to be a basketball player, especially because I was growing so much too. So I was like, why not try it? And after that, I just fell in love.
Great. And really, when you say that, it's kind of another one of those stories, right? Where it's like you almost kind of just grew into the sport you didn't think originally you were going to end up playing.
No, no, I didn't. It was crazy because I remember when I was younger, like before I was playing basketball, I had a hoop in my yard, but I never used it. And then now I'm like, man, I miss that hoop in my yard.
You started playing more so organized basketball, or you made your first team in the seventh grade?
Yes, but I didn't really like the sport. Eighth grade is when I decided, like, yeah, this is the sport I want to play for the rest of my life.
Okay. Then to that point, if you can, and I know this is kind of going back in the time machine a little bit, but do you possibly remember what was the first ever bucket you scored as an eighth grader playing basketball?
If I roughly remember it, I think it was I had a rebound and I caught the rebound and just went back up. I was wide open and it came off the rim and I went back up and it was a layup. And that was my first ever bucket.
Awesome. I mean, look, crashing those boards is sometimes can be the easiest way to get a bucket. So it's better to start off the career a lot, I guess, on easy mode, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
My next moment kind of gets into the standpoint of what truly was the moment or sort of the realization for you that as far as when you were playing basketball, especially early on, that you could really pursue basketball or see it as a serious goal?
I think when I started like working out with my middle school team and I just saw like I could be so good because I'm seeing results come faster. And it was kind of different with soccer. Like progress took a little longer with soccer, but basketball, I felt like I picked it up and I really just understood this is what I got to do. And then even just waking up, because when I started basketball, I didn't really fall in love with it. But eighth grade year, when I really started to play it, I fell in love. So I started waking up really early. And when I saw the results, I was like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life because I love the grind. So I was like, yep, I could see myself going somewhere with this, especially because, working hard was always something I felt like I didn't do in soccer, but basketball, just work hard every day, trying to get better.
Yeah, I mean, it really is amazing, right? When you kind of go into something, it seems like, especially for a lot of people, it's the aspect of once you start out with something that you're maybe unsure about, but you start to see the results, especially results from the hard work that you put in. It's kind of like it really sort of fosters and nurtures that love over time and makes it a lot easier to sort of come to that realization that, look, not only am I just maybe just naturally good at this thing, but I'm clearly putting in the effort and the results are coming. So why not stick with it and see where I can go? And clearly, I think you're doing some pretty big things for yourself.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Means a lot.
No problem. And look, I'm here to give all the compliments, so you're going to hear plenty more of those as we continue this interview. Kind of to further build on kind of the family aspect that's kind of been the impact of your basketball life. We obviously talked about your dad, how he got you into it. Now, obviously, we got to show some love to mom, right? So, can you give me a little bit more about how impactful your mother has been sort of in your basketball career so far?
My mom, she always supported me throughout whatever I wanted to do. So she was like, what do you want to follow? And I was just like, I want to do this basketball. So she's like, okay, well, you got to work hard and show you want it. And she saw me working hard and showing that I wanted. So she was like, I'm going to support you in all this and get you on these get you on these trips so you can play with these teams and get you to these camps that you get invited to. And I was like, thank you, and she would sometimes she'd be like, you got to go out there and play well. Or if I was if I was playing a tough team and let's say I didn't have the best game, she would just be like, you'll get them next time. You just got to focus on the next play. So she was always in the aspect of like supporting me throughout the whole time, whether I did bad or good.
Yeah, I think that's always big to have that support system behind you because it kind of when things obviously get tough, it really reinforces the fact that look, what I'm doing is fully supported by the people that love me the most and that are around me more than anybody else. So I got to keep trying, not even just for myself, but for them as well to make them proud.
Yes, yes, of course.
And then kind of building off of that, then can you maybe, if you're willing to share a moment maybe where you faced a little bit of hardship as an athlete to this point, and then how you sort of overcame this particular obstacle?
I remember when I was younger and when I was picking up basketball for the first time, and I had trouble going through my legs. So when I was going through my legs, I couldn't figure out how to like go back and forth at the same time, like the Tim Hardaway crossover. I couldn't figure out how to do that. So I just kept practicing. And after like maybe it took me like 2, 3 weeks, I figured out how to go through it smoothly because I just kept working on it. And I was like, I'm gonna figure out how to go through it smoothly because I used to always look down when I went through my legs. So obviously when I kept progressing and working hard on it, I can look away and still go through my legs smoothly.
And you said that you play for a team in Harlem, New York.
Yes.
Obviously, I've been following you and your mom on Instagram. Your mom's been sending me a lot of videos recently about all your different travels, your different games, things of that nature. My question to you is that how would you describe your first experience sort of heading to New York to take part in a camp or an event or even a game?
I'd say it was gritty. It was a bunch of kids who just not scared to go at you, no matter how tall, no matter how big you are. I would say it was a experience where you're competing. Um, everyone can dribble. Everyone's got to pull up, and everyone's just trying to win. Like they got that winner's mentality down in New York. They don't want to lose, so they're gonna put their body on the line if they have to. And I just felt like that was something where I want to be a part of consistently, whether I'm from there or not.
Would you say that maybe heading to New York initially was it a little bit as far as the basketball scene a culture shock, or was it something you were able to kind of get used to right away?
I was able to get used to because down here in Maryland, we're also very competitive. We also want to win, and we're gonna go at you no matter who you are. So I felt like it was something I just had to adjust to. I would say because like New York is more like handles. Everyone can dribble. You gotta You want to show out in New York, you got to be able to handle the ball.
It sort of brings that mentality. It doesn't matter where you go as an athlete and someone in a competitive realm. You just got to be ready to bring it at 100%. And clearly, I think you definitely had the mindset going in from the way you make it sound. So here's where we get into the good stuff. We really get to get a deep dive into your game. We get to learn all the ins and outs about what you can do without hopefully giving up too much of the scout report. Let's just say that. So right now, personally, what would you say is your best attribute or skill to your game on the floor?
I would say my best attribute is my defense. I feel like when I'm gonna go on the court and lock up a player, I feel like I can really lock up a player just because I can move my feet fast for my size and my speed.
And I think I've definitely seen that in some of the highlights that have been posted of you on social media and things of that nature. So then that actually perfectly leads into this next question. As far as all the different camps and events and games that you've participated in, especially recently, and just overall, who would you say has been, if you can, you don't have to necessarily give a name or thing like that, but who would you say has been your toughest assignment as far as defensively, as far as maybe even someone you've had to guard one on one?
Well, this wasn't a camp, but it was a workout. I was at a workout with one of the trainers I used to train with, and he was training pros and overseas guys. And I remember stepping on the court and we were running ones, and I was ready to lock up this player because I was like, I seen him do this move, and I'm like, I'm gonna stop him. And he scored on me, and I was like, all right, next time I'm gonna get him. I'm gonna get him. I know exactly what he's gonna do. And he scored on me again, and it was just tougher because I was like, I'm playing him really tight. I'm not giving him nothing. He was just hitting these shots. So he's a overseas player, but he played in the NBA for a little. So I played against him, and it was just tough because the way he knew how to, the body control he had and the handle, it was tougher to stick than most players I usually stick. Like, he didn't have the same movements each time I stuck him, so it was tougher for me to figure him out.
It definitely sounds like it's one of those things where people think just the players that obviously play in the league now are tough, or even the players that play on the high school or the college level. But you got guys that used to play that are the trainers that are still giving, young men like yourself buckets. But
Yeah.
it's
And I didn't expect it because, I was like, he played a little in the NBA, but I don't know. I just feel like I can handle him. He wasn't that much taller than me either, but he just had a like smooth game to him where he wasn't worried about no type of pressure I put on him.
And would you say, as someone who it sounds like really takes pride in your abilities on the defensive end, did it kind of almost give you a little more rest assurance that, look, maybe sometime as good a deep as I could play when I'm playing the best that the world has to offer, sometimes they're just going to score on me. You just got to move on to the next one, right?
And that was the thing too. I was like, I'm gonna get scored on sometimes, but I'm not gonna stop. I never said I'm not gonna stick him no more. I'm gonna keep trying to get a stop on him.
Let's segue into the part of your game that maybe you feel like you need to most improve upon. Obviously, you talked about earlier on how handles earlier on as a younger basketball player was a big thing for you. So specifically right now, what part of your game are you most looking to kind of evolve to the next level?
I'd say my range behind the three. I feel like that's something I could get more consistent because that'd make me more of an offensive threat. So I'd say my 3-point shot.
It seems like for someone like yourself, as you said you're 6'5", 6'6". We could take either or. That look compared to me, I'm 5'10", 5'11". So you're already big. I got no shot. But really, I think for someone like yourself, for the side, that kind of is one of those things that really young men like yourself, it's good that you're working on, because you're long. You can take people off the dribble, as we've seen, get to the basket, finish around the rim pretty well. But nowadays, especially with the way basketball's kind of evolving as things move on further and further, you got to be able to shoot out on the perimeter at some point. So developing that three is really going to be, I think, a big deal for you. And obviously, it's going to be an important part of your game to make you an even more dangerous, I would even say, two-way player, right?
And that's why I want to get it consistent too. I feel like now it makes me more of a threat because I like to drive a lot. But now if I can shoot it, now you don't know what I'm gonna do.
What would you say offensively is your kind of go-to move as it currently stands?
So
If your team needs a bucket.
my go-to move is I would like bring you to the baseline, and then when I drive middle, I spin move, and I'll finish off the rim, off the glass.
Awesome. I mean, look, fundamentals are going to get you a lot of places. I mean, we could even see right now in the NBA, we got a guy in Nikola Jokic who, at this rate, it's smarts and fundamentals. So it just tells you that, look, it's good to do all the fancy stuff, but if you got the fundamentals down, you can get to the baseline, as you said, spin baseline, finish with either hand off the glass. I mean, sometimes that's the easiest way to get a bucket, and having a move that's so reliable like that only is going to make your job a lot easier, especially against top-notch defenders.
Yep, of course.
My next question would then have to be, as far as sort of off the court, how would you say the game of basketball has affected you off the court, whether it's in your personal growth or even, the growth of your brand as a actual athlete?
Feel like it's given me like a open mind to like if you're like I'm 6'6", so because I'm 6'6", I feel like if I get better on my three and I work on my defense even more than it already is, I feel like I should be able to play all positions because basketball is becoming a more positionless game every day. Me seeing like the NBA games, the college games, G League games, I'm like, geez, everyone can shoot from the 7-foot center to the 5'8" guard.
Right now, as far as, let's get into sort of like your goals going forward. Obviously, I know this may be a little bit of a ways away, but my first part of this question would have to be: do you have a desire to play obviously professional basketball? I would assume.
Yes, I do.
You think it would matter if you ended up making the NBA, or would you even be open to playing possibly in other international leagues around the world?
I would definitely be open to playing pro, overseas, G League, NBA, because I love the game and I feel like it's something I want to do, and getting paid to play is a dream.
I mean, look, when you can get paid to do what you love, I don't think anyone's going to argue with the fact that that's the best feeling in the world, because now you're in the career that you want to be in, that you have fun doing, and you're getting paid a pretty nice penny to do it as well. So I don't think anyone's going to be envious of you doing that. So what would you say, kind of to circle back around to you as a defender? What would you say is maybe the biggest reason kind of you grown to take so much pride in your defense overall?
So I had a trainer when I was younger who, when I was just starting out basketball, I was like, I really like the training he's doing. So I was watching we'd be in the gym early with him. And this was before we knew him. And we just see him doing these drills. And we were like, wow, those are really good drills. I really want to learn how to do drills like that one day. And after we just talked to him, we were like, we were down to get some work in. I want to get better. And he was like, all right. And he started just teaching me how to play defense the right way, how to stick certain players, how to defend certain players. And after that, I just felt like, yeah, this could be something I'll be really good at.
It's kind of just something that you saw off to the side. You're like, oh, that is almost like, hey, that looks pretty cool actually. And then you get into it, it's like, oh, so this is really going to help me. The fact that you're able to kind of come into that type of situation and then take advantage of the fact that he's really helping you grow as a defender, that only made it a lot easier for you. So when you ultimately really started getting into the trenches, I mean, when it comes to making teams and getting on the floor and trying to get, as many minutes as possible to grow as a player, it was a lot easier for a coach to put you out there, because he knows, I know that Hutchinson kid. I know Andrew. He's gonna guard for me. I don't have to worry about that in any way, shape, or form. I don't care if he doesn't give me a bucket. I know whoever he's guarding is gonna have a tough night.
That was the thing too. I was like, defense is going to keep me on the floor and keep me in the game in crunch time. So I was like, this is something I really want to do, and it's just something I'm gonna take pride in.
For someone that's so young in their basketball career, even still, do you have maybe a particular moment so far that you're the most proud of, or what would you say is your sort of most crowning achievement that you've reached so far as a basketball player?
So when I entered my senior year of high school, I was like, I want to win a state championship. So that moment, I felt like, dang, I felt like, wow, when I put my mind to something, I really can achieve it. We won state championships after like being not even the top seed at first. They didn't even expect us to, because last year, COVID happened and the season got messed up. And then we came in this year, my previously senior year, stronger than ever. We fought hard, we played together, and we won states. So that was a proud moment of mine.
So you could almost say it's really kind of like taking pride in kind of that underdog story, which, I mean, everybody loves a good underdog story, including myself. So the fact that you were able to come in and you and your team were able to come in kind of sort of, I'm sure in you guys' eyes, very underrated, and kind of exceed all expectations and win the whole thing. I mean, that's the best feeling in the world, right?
Yep, it is.
My last question for you to wrap this thing up would have to be then, we've talked about everything. We've talked about, your earlier life, your basketball life coming up, your pros and cons as a player, what you've learned overall. So to kind of wrap everything into a nice big bow, what would you say personally for you right now is the next step you feel you have to take in order to further progress your basketball career?
I would say post grad route because I'm going to Rock Top Academy, and I feel like that's going to be something that's going to make me more mature. I'm going to be more developed on and off the court. And then I know that it's going to make me more responsible than I already am. And it's going to really teach me about a lot of stuff that I need to understand for when I'm going to college, because this is how college is going to be practically. So I just know like this is preparation for that. You
Right.
know, they say all the time, they're like, if you get ready, you don't have to stay ready. So I feel like this is that type of moment. And this is my year to really just be consistent with what I'm doing and work hard with what I love.
And that is truly a quote I think that everybody can really learn from and really live by. So I want to say again, Andrew, thank you for taking some time with me today. It was fantastic to really learn your story, man. I mean, I,
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for interviewing me.
no problem. Because look, as someone who's really trying to come up in the world as far as sports media, anytime I get to tell stories like yourself, especially people that are local in my area, I mean, you never know. Maybe down the road when we both make it big, I'll be interviewing you, whether it's for ESPN, Fox Sports, or something with in some league, wherever. I mean, that's what we're all looking forward to, right?
Yep, that's the goal. That's the goal.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, Andrew, and I will be in contact very soon with everything. And good luck in the future, my man.
Thank you, Michael.